All right, we are getting started with the truck driver bonus criteria. We're going to explain that. That was one of the number one questions when we posted all of the earnings for last month, for the month of November. We were getting a lot of questions on, well, how does this work? How do I earn this? How do I qualify for the driver bonus? And so that's what we're going to spend a lot of time on today, is just diving deep and explaining what that criteria is. Of course, if you have questions, interrupt me by putting it in the chat, and then I can answer your question specifically. But, and that goes the same for not only just the driver criteria, but if you're looking at Decker as an option to come aboard for the long term, then feel free to give me your zip code, give me your experience, let me know what you have for questions, what you're looking for, and I can get even more specific in your rate of pay per mile, your rate of pay guaranteed, and then of course the running lanes and stuff. So we'll dive deep answering your questions, but most importantly, I want to answer the questions that we've been getting throughout the weekend about the criteria for the bonus. So I want to make sure that that is crystal clear so you guys know how you can earn that extra money. It's out there for you to earn. Our driver managers are also available to help answer questions and make sure that if you didn't qualify and don't understand why, that we can explain why. Or if you didn't qualify and there was a discrepancy and it needs to be taken care of, they can also step in and take care of that for you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Again, if you have questions, put it in the chat. Let's take care of it. My name is Jessie. I'm a recruiter here at Decker Truckline, and we're just going to dive in. All right, we've got a lot to go over too. You guys, I just want to give you some reminders of what's coming up here within this week. I hope you guys had a very Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all of you. We've got New Year's coming up, so our New Year's hours are going to be a little bit different as well. Same as this last week, but you know, for some of you who are on the road, I want to make sure that you are well aware of what the office hours are. Of course, you'll have the 24/7 roadside assistance available to you. You'll have the night ops available to you 24/7 as well. But the formal driver managers and some of the other safety and whatnot, they won't be available to you like normal office hours for next week, for next Monday, I should say. So we'll dive deep into all of those details. Hey, Amy, how are you today? All right, so let's first answer some of these questions for the what do I want to say? The driver bonuses. We've got the monthly bonus, which is, we've got a safety bonus, which is a penny per mile, and then we have what we call our scorecard bonus. And the scorecard bonus has 7 criteria if you're a company driver. It has 5 criteria if you're an owner-operator or lease purchase. And we will decipher the difference between the two of them here in just a moment. So the bonus as a company driver is, with the 7 criteria, is an additional 4 cents a mile on all the miles that you completed for that previous month. And as an owner-operator or lease purchase, it's 3 cents a mile for all the miles that you completed for the previous month. Okay? Indiana, Jack, how are ya? Well, I had a wonderful Christmas, thank you. It was very cold the day before, but it was beautiful on Christmas Day. Good, yes. Awesome. All right, so yes, we've got the bonus. The driver scorecard is what we're going to spend most of our time on. But before we jump into the scorecard itself, let's talk about the safety bonus. The safety bonus is a penny per mile for all the miles that you've completed for the previous month. So let's use November as the month for discussion, okay? November is what we just completed the month of for calculating the miles and the completed miles and everything. And that was just paid out. So you're usually paid out around the 3rd week or the 3rd pay period of the month following when you ran it. So for the month of November, which has 30 days, it's calculated by the number of miles that you had divided by the number of weeks in that month. If the month had 30 days, you're looking at 4.29 weeks. If it had 31 days in the month, you're looking at 4.43 weeks. So that's going to be the difference between the month of November and the month of December, you have a 30-day month versus a 31-day month. So obviously your number of weeks are going to be different, or going to be, the dividend of them is going to be a little bit different than if it wasn't a 31-day versus a 30-day. Does that make sense so far? Because the number of days in a week will determine the amount of weeks within the month. The number of days in the month will determine the number of weeks within that month to calculate your average weekly miles. That's for the scorecard, okay? For the safety bonus, let me stay on task here and make sure that I can keep you, make sure that I'm answering things one at a time without confusing you guys. The safety bonus is the 1 penny per mile based off of all of the miles that you completed for the previous month. So if you ran on the 28th of November, you picked up a load on the 28th, but it didn't deliver until the 1st of December, if that was your timeline, you would not use those miles or that load on your November miles. It would fall into your December miles. The miles that are completed within the month of November would then be calculated within the month of November. So same goes for if you picked up a load in the end of October on October 30th and you delivered it November 2nd, then you would be paid out within the month of November. You would be paid for the month of November on those miles. Just to clarify where those miles fall. It's what is completed. All of your paperwork should be in by Sunday night at 10 p.m. in order for it to count within that week, within that pay period. Now we have the guaranteed pay, and one of the qualifications for the guaranteed pay is to get your paperwork in by 10 p.m. If you don't get it in by 10 p.m., then you revert back to the pay per mile, which could very well be more than the guaranteed pay anyway, but just know that that is one of the qualifications. Okay, so back to that safety bonus. The safety bonus is based off of our safety system within the truck. And that safety system does include both inward and outward event recorders or cameras. So it depends on most of them are lytic system. We have a few smart drive, but most of them are the lytic system, if not all of them at this very moment. And what they are doing is it's an AI system. So they are determining your habits or your actions in a particular situation. So if you are hard braking often, if you are following too close, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, those are all things, safety related things that the AI system, the safety system will notice. If you are in violation, or if you had a triggered event, basically, if you have a triggering event, that will kick on the camera. Now, the outward camera is always on. The inward is only kicked on during a critical event. And again, some of those critical events are following too close, erratic lane change, speeding, seatbelt violations, because that's where the AI can see that. It's a color difference there, that's why. All right. So that's the safety system. If your points are 20 points or below, you will get an additional penny per mile on all of the miles that you completed for that previous month. So that's how that bonus system works. 20 points and below pays you out an additional penny per mile. If you have over the 20 points, then you forfeit that safety bonus for the month. So it's 20 or below. Now, a perfect score, of course, we do want to recognize all of our drivers who have earned the perfect scores as well. And we have quite a few drivers who have done so. And that being said, I know it's a really long list for a lot of you guys. And normally on our Facebook page, we will go ahead and announce those, read everybody off, because it's more of our family, the Decker family Facebook page for the most part. For the perfect scores, let me pull those up here for numbers for you guys so that you have an idea of what those are. This last month, for the month of November, we paid out over $57,000 between the scorecard and the safety bonus. $57,000. In the safety bonus alone, I have to think about that every time I say it. In the safety bonus alone, we paid just under $16,000 in the company side, and we paid just under $4,000 in the owner-operator lease purchase side. So did very well. We had many drivers do very well in that. For the safety bonus, we had 252 drivers who got a safety bonus, which is about 37% of our fleet, again, for the month of November. We had 34% of our fleet earn the scorecard bonus, which was about 231 of our drivers. And between the two of them, either you got the bonus, got the safety bonus, got the scorecard bonus, or you got a combination of both. We had 59 drivers in total, or excuse me, we had 406 drivers in total, which is about 59% of our fleet who earned bonuses for the month of November. So congratulations to each and every one of you who earned that. And like I said, there's a lot of drivers who had the perfect score on those as well. And you can see that on our page. And actually, I can bring this up for you as well so that you guys can see the number of drivers that we had who earned this. Let's see. Let me save this so I can actually open it up for you. How's that? Excellent. Yeah, and then, like I said, for the criteria for the safety bonus, that is the only criteria for that is that your points are 20 or lower. So the lower the better. A perfect score, of course, with additional recognition, but 30 or 20 points or lower would get you the safety bonus. We had quite a few payouts for that. I am just pulling this up so that you can actually see the number of winners for that safety bonus. It's quite a big number. There you go. So now, oops, just kidding. There you go. There you go. Now you can see the number of drivers who had that safety bonus. We had 202 company drivers with that bonus, paid out over $15,000, $15,764, and owner-operators, $3,900, over $3,900. Now this is the perfect score, and I'm sure you recognize how impressive the number of people who have earned that perfect score is. So huge congratulations to each one of you. That is quite a number for sure. So congratulations. Now that's the scorecard, or excuse me, that is the safety bonus. Now remember, we also have the scorecard bonus, which can get you an additional 4 cents a mile as a company driver or 3 cents a mile as an owner-operator or lease purchase. And what I want to do is explain the difference between what it takes to earn the scorecard bonus as an owner-operator versus a scorecard bonus as a lease or as a company driver. So lease purchase and owner-operator, we don't take into account the idle time or the fuel compliance for the owner-operator and lease purchase when it comes to earning your scorecard bonus. A perfect score, by the way, for the scorecard, it's complete opposite of the safety bonus. With a safety bonus, you want to be on the smaller amount. With the scorecard, you want the bigger number. And the perfect score is 1,000 points. 1,000 points is your perfect score. If you drop in points, then the amount that you're paid out on all the miles completed for that month will decrease. So it starts, the top end for an owner-operator lease purchase is 3 cents a mile. 3 cents a mile is the top bonus pay for the scorecard for an owner-operator lease purchase, on top of all your extra pays, of course. And that does not include your fuel or your idle time or your fuel compliance. The reason being is, as an owner-operator or lease purchase, you know how important it is to make sure that your numbers are on task or are up to date, and you're well aware of your numbers, know your numbers when it comes to the lease purchase and owner-operator. Because that will make or break it for you. Yes, you get fuel surcharge. Your paid fuel surcharge on top of your mileage pay, or if you're doing percentage, which most of our owner operators and lease purchase drivers are doing the 72% of the load. So you're getting that fuel surcharge on top of that, but you're also getting that extra cents per mile. But the thing is if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know what your idle time is, or if you don't know what your fuel mileage is, or if you're not aware of where you should be fueling and where you shouldn't be, you're not taking into consideration the fuel compliance or the fuel routing, then you're probably losing money. On average, we save you about 48 cents per mile on fuel. 48 cents per mile. It doesn't take long for that to add up. So take advantage of our fuel solutions and save that extra money. That's what it's all about. It's about saving you money as a lease operator or owner operator. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Hello, Maro. Hi, how are you? Merry Christmas. Merry belated Christmas. So that is the fuel idle time. That's why we don't take that into consideration, or why we don't put that at least within the numbers for the owner operator and lease purchase. Now, that said, we do use the other criteria that we use for the company driver, which is going to be whether or not you had any claims, CSA violations, preventable accidents, any driver service failures, or late loads, and miles. So those are the 5 criteria that will be taken into consideration as an owner operator. Your miles, your driver service failures, driver claims, your CSA violations, and your preventable accidents. Those 5 criteria. And depending on where you're at within the criteria will determine what your payout is. Again, the perfect score of 1,000 is a 3 cent per mile on all the miles completed for the month, 3 cents per mile bonus. Now, if you received anywhere from a 900 to 974, you're going to get a 2 cent per mile bonus. If your total was anywhere from 825 out of 1,000 to 899 out of 1,000, you're going to get a penny per mile bonus on all of the miles completed. So it's on all the miles completed. And what would determine that variation, or where you would decrease? If you had a claim, or any damage, that is worth 250 points. So you would automatically lose 250 points to a claim or damage. All right, so know that it's basically you forfeit for driver service claims, for CSA violations, for preventable accidents, and for service failures. The points that those are given within the scorecard, you will be forfeiting that whole amount if you had any one of those. Now, they're different amounts. Driver service claims are 150 points. I think I said it wrong a moment ago. Driver service claims are 150 points. CSA violations. If you get a CSA violation within that month, that will deduct 250 points from your 1,000-point start. So everybody starts at 1,000 points, and you want to maintain that 1,000 points. Okay, 250 points, and that's at least for the claims, the CSA violations, the preventable accidents, and the service failures. So you lose 250 points or forfeit 250 points if you have any CSA violation. If you have any preventable accident, it could be an incident or an accident, but if it's preventable, you lose 250 points. If you had a driver service claim or you had a late load, you lose 150 points. So that is a 150 point value. Driver service claims and claims or damage, those are both worth 150 points. CSA violations and preventable accidents, those are worth 250 points. Okay. Now the miles are going to be a little bit different depending on the division that you're running, and the amount of miles you run has a different point average. So for instance, if you are in a home weekly refrigerated division, you are looking at a minimum requirement of 2,100 miles in order to qualify for 25 points as a company driver or 50 points for an owner operator. So let's stick with the owner operator lease purchase. So you get 50 points as an owner-operator lease purchase if you run at minimum 2,100 miles per week average. Now remember, the average that your average is based off of the number of miles that you run divided by the number of weeks in that month. If you have in the month of November has 30 days. So using that as an example, the number of miles that you ran within that month of November, from the 1st to the 30th, divided by 4.29, which represents the number of weeks within that month. So again, if you have 50 points if you run over 2,100 miles, you'll get 50 points. The max point for an owner-operator lease purchase for miles is 200. So you want to make sure that you get above that. Anything over, and this is our home weekly refrigerated division that I'm giving you an example of. Anything over 2,400 miles per week on average will get you that additional, or will get you a total of 200 points, which will get you that full amount or the full points for the miles. Does that make sense so far? Okay. For max points because there's different levels. Remember, there's different levels based off of your mileage. So if you ran 2,200 miles for the weekly average, that's going to get you 100 points. So if you didn't have any claims, you didn't have any CSA violations, you didn't have any preventable accidents, and you didn't have any service failures, so you were 100% across the board for that, and then you had 2,200 miles a week on average in the weekly refrigerated division, then you're going to get 100 points. So you'll have 900 points in this case, in this example, 900 points out of 1,000 points, which would then qualify you for 2 cents more per mile. So a 2 cents bonus on all miles completed for the month. Make sense? Okay. Making sure we're following. Perfect. What else can I tell you here? Let me break down some of the mile criteria for some of the other divisions. If you're in the over-the-road refrigerated division, anything over 2,700 miles on average per week will get you the full cents per mile. Anything over 2,300 for the over-the-road flatbed. 2,300 miles for average for the flatbed. Over-the-road flatbed would get you an extra, or would get you the full points for the mileage. You'd get the full 200 points for the mileage in our home weekly flatbed if you're over 2,100 miles for the week. And short haul is usually about 1,800 miles. So that's the criteria all broken down for you as an owner-operator lease purchase. Let's talk company, okay? Company drivers. I do also want to note, when it comes to lease purchase and owner-operators, your driver managers are not focusing on your mileage pay, because when it comes to our owner-operators and lease purchase, you're paid on a percentage. So they're looking for max payout for you with the revenue, the gross revenue, not the mileage pay, because the gross revenue, since you're getting 72% of the load, that's where they know you'll be making the money. So those are the numbers that they're looking at. Cool. Okay, just making sure we're clear on that. All right, now let's talk about company drivers. The company drivers have the very same criteria when it comes to your claims, your CSA violations, your preventable accidents, or your service failures. Those 4 criteria are the exact same, as well as mileage. Okay, so let me add mileage in. Those 5 criteria are the exact same whether you're on an owner-operator or a lease purchase. Okay, so again, mileage, CSA violations, preventable accidents, service failures, and driver service claims. Those 5 criteria are the same whether you're an owner-operator or a lease purchase, or a company driver. Now, as a company driver, the difference is that we do take in consideration your fuel compliance and your idle time and so if you're following the fuel routing consistently and you're not veering from any of that, you're 100% compliant on the fuel, that is worth 50 points. That's big. That is big. That is big savings for the company, which therefore those savings go right on to you. The idle time is also really important. If you have less than 5% idle time, you're going to get the max 200 points for idle. That's a big one, you guys. That is a big, big one. So please make sure that you are keeping your idle down when possible, and as well as staying compliant with your fuel routing. Those can make big differences in whether or not you get the bonus. And remember, the bonus does go in tiers. So say you were compliant with your fuel for the most part, but maybe you were only 90% compliant, then you're going to be losing about 10 points on that, which would, instead of being the full 4 cents a mile as a company driver for your scorecard, you'll get 3 cents a mile as a company driver for your scorecard, because you'll bump down from the perfect score of 1,000 down to 990, which would then bring you to the 3 cents per mile instead of the 4 cents per mile. Clear? Okay. Like I said, you guys, if you have questions on it, feel free to ask, because I'm more than willing to get those questions answered. I just want to make sure that everything's clear, because those are the questions that we were getting asked over the weekend. And I was trying to type them out and explain them, but really sometimes it's best just to talk one-on-one on it and make sure that your questions are answered. So that's what I'm here for. Please feel free to reach out. And reaching out to your driver manager is a great idea. When you get your paperwork, or when you get notified on your TransFlow app that the scorecard numbers are in, that your safety bonus numbers are in, please review them with your driver managers. Review them on your own, and then review them with your driver managers. We have a couple of drivers who reach out to me on a regular basis and let me know if there is a discrepancy, so that we can take care of it, whether it's the fuel routing or whatever it might be, so that we can make sure that we can take care of that for them. We want to make sure we are paying out your bonuses accurately. And if you got a fuel routing change for a particular reason, and it does need to be a solid reason, you guys. It can't just be because I don't want to stop. That doesn't work. It has to be a solid reason that has been approved by your fleet manager or your driver manager, which is also approved by the Fuel Solutions. And therefore that communication has to be relayed to everybody. And if for some reason it's overlooked at the time of the scorecard, that's when the discrepancy happens. So please make sure that you are just double checking and that the numbers are a correct reflection of the job that you've done. Job well done. So, okay, so back to the scorecard bonus. With the scorecard bonus, if you are not compliant with fuel, like I said, that can bump you down a total of 50 points altogether, which you could still earn 3 cents more per mile with your fuel solution, or with your scorecard total, if you lost points with your fuel solution. So again, you could still earn 3 cents per mile on all the miles completed for the month if your scorecard is at 950 or above. But the more compliant you are with fuel, the more money you will see, and of course, the more money that you've saved the company, which therefore is passed on to you. Okay. Let's talk about the idle time. Idle is important. Idling is important to have a good grasp on. But I don't want to overlook what happened this last weekend. This last weekend, for those, if you guys are going to be watching the replay, obviously you guys are live right now, but for anybody who watches the replay, this last weekend was one of the coldest weekends that we've had. In Montana, we went from negative 54, where I was at, negative 54 with wind chill, to over, I think it was 56 degrees above zero. I mean, it was windy, don't get me wrong, but 56 degrees above zero the next day. I am not kidding you. That was the temperature. It was within a 24-hour period, it was 100 some, or pretty darn close to 105 or something like that, I think is what the difference was in temperature from wind chill to above. It makes a big difference, you guys. And when that is the case, idle time is important, yes, But when the temperatures are below 10 or below, we know you're going to need to idle. Yes, we have bunk heaters. Yes, we have APU units, but your safety is important. And we appreciate all you do to make sure that the trucks are in good working order and that you are keeping those costs down. However, if it's below 10 degrees, make sure you are taking into consideration your safety. We understand that you're going to have to idle. But in those instances, please communicate with your driver manager. Let them know. Remember, they're in Fort Dodge, or they're in Missoula, or they're in Bessemer. They are not in wherever you're at. They need to know what the temperature is, or they need to know why you're idling. So, and because you're idling, it doesn't mean that, they're going through all these what ifs, I guess. What I'm saying is, please make sure that you're communicating, that you're taking your safety into consideration, but you do need to communicate so that they know, so they can relay that information. When I was talking about the fuel compliance and making sure that the driver manager, you're communicating to the driver manager is approving it, then that information is also going to Fuel Solutions, making sure that we've got that communication channel wide open so that we can be sure to stay compliant with the scorecard bonus points so that you are getting paid what you should, right? The same goes for the idle time. If you have to idle because of weather, and like I said, the weather did not give anybody, not very many people at least, a chance. I mean, you needed to idle. If you were in the truck, if you were home, it's a different story, and then your APU should be on standby. But if you were out on the road, you needed to idle this weekend. That was understood. But please communicate with your driver manager so that they've got that accounted for, so they can stand up for you on your behalf. Okay, that's where I'm going with that. That was a long drawn out, but it's important. Want to make sure that you guys are getting paid what you should be. Okay. Who's that in Fort Dodge? Mike? Idling causes soot, which causes regen and bumps up a lot of DEF. Yep. Mike also says that's called weather engineering. They are seeding the clouds plus heart. So the weather, it was definitely in play over the weekend. But for most cases, mostly throughout the year, we're not going to have a one size fits all situation where everybody and their dog, literally, where everybody is going to need to adjust their idle time or need to be communicated that the idle time is that they're idling because of weather. It's not common that California and Iowa and North Carolina, like everybody is idling because of the weather. This last weekend, that did encompass quite a few people. I mean, if you guys we don't run up in the Northeast a whole lot, but we do run up towards the Northeast, and there was a lot of snow up there. There was a lot of snow in the Midwest, and we got a lot of snow out here in the West. And it does look like it's coming through again. So I just want to make sure that it's crystal clear that if you have to idle because of weather, you're communicating. And you are staying safe. It's okay to idle. When it's 10 degrees or 5 degrees or negative insane degrees, we just need to make sure we know. Communication's key, and that's coming from both us, and that's why I'm offering this Q&A to you guys, as well as what you give back to us. So please continue to communicate with us. All right, so that is the basic definition, like those are the basic criteria for our truck driver bonus. So I hope I've done a good job of explaining that to you. If you have questions, you have an open door policy, you give us a call, give your driver manager a call. If you have an ambassador, so if you're newer to the company, you've only been here for 60, 90 days or something like that, and you have questions, don't forget that you have an art ambassador an ambassador for you to help answer your questions and walk you through what is this, and I don't understand this scorecard, or I don't understand the safety bonus, or How do I communicate with my driver manager? Whatever it might be, just reach out to your ART ambassador. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you through all of this. And the scorecard is new to a lot of people. A lot of you don't know what the scorecard's all about. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to not know. But that's our job to make sure that we are offering that education to you so that you can succeed. And your driver managers to help support you and get you the numbers that you want. Win-win all the way around. We do use Pilot Flying J, and we get a lot of discounts, or our drivers get a lot of discounts with the rewards program as well. But we don't exclusively use them. So TAs, pilots, Flying J's, of course, loves, we'll use a variety. It all depends on the savings in that location or along that route. It will also take in consideration if there's tolls that are going along that route, if traffic or construction. Those are things that this system is supposed to include when it comes to the fuel routing, taking the time to route you. So should be taking all of that into consideration. Saving you money, saving you time. That's the job. That's the goal. Okay, so I know I spent a little bit more time on that than expected, but I do think it's important. It's been a question that I've been getting a lot, and I don't think it was fair that you had to wait over the weekend. I apologize, but I wanted to make sure that I was giving you all of the details, that I wasn't missing any of those numbers or getting those numbers wrong. So, waiting till today to go over that with you. But now you have it. On ice because my refrigerator wasn't working. Yes, that's the other thing, you guys. Don't forget we've got 24/7 roadside assistance. So if you have something, the nice thing, Mike, is that your refrigerator, you just put things outside while you're waiting because it was pretty cold. Maybe not now, but it was. It does look like some weather's coming back in though. But when it comes to the APU and the heater, you guys, that is very similar to what I was talking about with the idle time. Please make sure that you reach out, get their support, their driver support. And yeah, we do have some videos on our YouTube channel that will help answer questions on how to maybe troubleshoot your APU unit. Use those, try them out. Hopefully they work. If they don't, our 24/7 maintenance support is there for you. Let us take care of you. We do not want you stranded in this ridiculously cold weather. We want to make sure you guys are safe. And so many of you guys were in areas that it was just nasty cold and you just had to sit and wait because that weather was coming through. We appreciate all that you guys do for us, and I hope you never forget that. And I hope we never forget to continually remind you how much we appreciate you. I'm just going to keep plugging that in. We really appreciate everything you do. For those of you who stayed out over the holiday weekend, and those of you who are planning to stay out this next holiday weekend, don't forget, if you are staying out or if you stayed out, that you do have a $100 bonus in addition to your guaranteed pay and or your mileage pay. So you get a $100 bonus on top of your normal pay. Make sure that you're communicating with your driver manager if you have questions on whether or not you qualified for that. The qualifications for that bonus pay are that you were dispatched on a load and you were away from home. So if you are scheduled to be home for Christmas, whether you got there a day or two early or not, but or if you got there right on time, then you wouldn't qualify for that guaranteed pay because you're home for the holidays. But if you stayed out on the road during that time, then you do get that $100 bonus. So keep that in mind. And thank you guys for everybody who stayed out. I do know that not everybody who was ready for a load yesterday was able to get one because a lot of the customers are closed. And that's what I want to warn you again for New Year's. For the first New Year's Day is on what? Oh, it is on Sunday. I had to double check. New Year's Day is on Sunday. So therefore, banks and a lot of customers are recognizing it on Monday and will be closed. So keep that in mind because that will affect you as well. Or it could at least. It could. All right. And our hours are going to mirror what they were for Christmas as well. All right. If I haven't missed any questions, Brandon, hello. Good afternoon and happy holidays. Mike said, yeah, Mike, we saw a lot of deaths because of weather. And it wasn't something that we want to see. We didn't see a lot of deaths. I don't want that to come across. But there were a lot of deaths over the weekend because of weather, and nobody wants to see that. Myers and yeah, they need that milk necessity, right? Those are the basics. All right, let's jump over to birthdays and anniversaries. I know we don't normally do this on our YouTube channel. However, we didn't have Facebook because yesterday was considered a holiday. And so we didn't do our normal 4 p.m. Central Time live where we celebrate the birthdays and anniversaries for our Decker family, extended family. So I want to make sure that we are taking the time to do that because birthdays and anniversaries are fun for me. That's why. So Christopher Watkins celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Christopher. Ricky Bowman celebrating a birthday tomorrow, as well as Jackson Adams celebrating a birthday tomorrow, and Fernando Rodriguez. Happy birthday, you guys. Keith DaVinci, I can't say that very fast. Happy birthday, Keith, celebrating also tomorrow. Michael Dosh celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Jonathan Doyle also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. John Hodges is also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. The 28th is packed full of birthdays. John Inglesby celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Robert Mulby also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, you guys. Roman Fernandez celebrating on the 29th. I have to think, that's Thursday. I got to keep looking at my calendar, you guys. It's not long that I'm going to put my new calendar up. Yep, 2023. I'm so excited. I love the pictures that Cody provided for December for the 2022 calendar, but it is always exciting to get a new calendar up. All right, so Dean Frere, happy birthday, coming up also on Thursday, the 29th. Roy Middlestead celebrating a birthday on the 29th. Jessa Perrinsinger celebrating also on the 29th. Also on the 29th, Travis Wig. Happy birthday, you guys. Malachi Bolton celebrating a birthday on the 30th. Scott Pfeiffer celebrating a birthday on the 31st, as well as Christopher Curry. Happy birthday. And Preston McInville celebrating a birthday on January 1st, on Sunday. And we do have a handful of anniversaries to celebrate. We have Randall McVeigh celebrating his 10-year anniversary today. Damian Guthrie celebrating his anniversary today as an owner-operator lease purchase. And Gary Howard celebrating 12 years here at Decker. Congratulations, Gary. Matthew Robinson celebrating 6 years here at Decker. Mary Jo celebrating 8 years in claims. Marcia Goodell celebrating her 20th anniversary today. Eric Scow celebrating 16 years. Congratulations, Eric. Jamie Beam. Jamie, you are the winner for the biggest anniversary for the week. So Jamie Beam, owner-operator here at Decker, celebrating 27 years come the 1st of January. Brian Hobbs celebrating 4 years, as well as Tom Remington. So happy birthday, or happy anniversary. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. And Rick Wells celebrating an anniversary. 20 years for Rick. Congratulations, Rick. Another big one. 20 years. Good numbers. So happy anniversary, happy birthday, you guys. You have a wonderful week for sure. All right, Mike is off to go play in the snow. Sounds fun. Brandon says Buffalo is 3 hours from me. I had -30 degrees. Yeah, horrible weather, right? Just, did you guys see, I don't know how many of you guys watch TikTok, but there was a TikTok video of the Bills. My nephew showed it to me actually. But the Bills were getting dug out, or their cars were being dug out once they got home. They flew home and they couldn't find their vehicles at all. I thought that was funny. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that. I only thought it was funny because I didn't expect that much snow. I loved how people kind of banded together to help them out. That's awesome. That's what you want to see. But yeah, you definitely don't want to see people stranded in that. And there were a lot. Just like Mike was saying, the number of people reported on the news, 26. And the number that I saw, I didn't see 26. I think when I saw it was like 17. But yeah, Mike says, my project today is mounting some snow-studded tires. Yes, I think that's a must if you don't already have them. All right, I did remind you guys, but just one more time, the hours for today or for this coming week will be a little bit different. Yet again, it'll be reflection of last week, of yesterday's. Honestly, it was as of yesterday. We're going to have the same next Monday. So please be aware of that. And like I said, when it comes to the driver scorecard, the bonus there, the scorecard bonus or the safety bonus, please reach out to your driver managers. You guys, you should have the support there to at least understand what the basics are, where your numbers are, and how you can improve. If you don't know how to access those on your TransFlow app, I can walk you through it. You log into your TransFlow, you go to the dashboard, there is a scorecard button or a scorecard section that you can click on. It'll open up your scorecard and it will break it down. So yes, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Okay. Also, you guys, we were nominated yet again for the best fleets to drive for, which is, for those of you who don't know, is a huge accomplishment and just an awesome reward in and of itself. But there are so many more steps to earning the best fleet to drive for. Last year, we were a surprise because not only it was our first year of being nominated, which to get nominated anymore is quite difficult unless you've been nominated multiple times. But not only were we nominated for the first time, but we also earned it for the first time. And that is almost unheard of. So we would like to thank all of you who have been able to complete your driver surveys. So the TCA, they send out driver surveys to the companies or to the drivers and ask for opinions, ask for input stuff. It's detailed survey. And we thank you so much for those of you who have taken the time to fill those out. And for those of you who have not yet filled them out but have received a link to the survey, would you please fill that out and send it back? If you are wondering whether or not you got it, let us know. I mean, they don't send them out to 100% of the fleet, but they do send it out to a good chunk of people. So it is the TCA who sends it out. So I don't know who gets them. But anyways, we have those. If you guys have questions, please feel free to let us know. And if you haven't already gotten your 2023 calendar, you should be getting it. You can get a hold of Steph at 2222, extension 2222, to get your calendar. I'm super excited. So this is Todd Overson's pick. Yep, this is actually the trip to Ukraine, I believe. He was also our grand champion, our driver of the year last year. And then this is Hannah's picture. Yep, Hannah in Washington. I love this one. This one's from January. There are a lot of really good ones. Actually, there were a lot that we couldn't even include in here. And you can see in the back, there are quite a few, just a handful of the ones that we couldn't put in, but still some gorgeous pictures, you guys. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you to all of our drivers who have submitted photos, by the way. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And as always, if you have questions, I am here to answer them. Please feel free to call us 888-668-0698. You please stay safe. And if there's anything else, reach out to me.